topic. That'll be followed up by additional public discussion with the board and refining of those ideas and those plans, and then ultimately getting formal approval by the board. So all 4 of those subjects that we've talked about will go through that kind of loose process. The affordable housing group has kind of already kicked off and is underway with work, and then we're looking to start the work with water quality and mental health in the next month. Followed by economic well-being, which will be probably the biggest picture topic that we undertake. There's a lot of things that can fall under that umbrella. So that's the process that we're going to go through. There's going to be numerous points for the public to provide input throughout that. And as Angela mentioned, there is a survey on our website that's open until December 31st that we'll be monitoring and sharing feedback with the board on a weekly basis. So that's the place where you can go to find updates. So that was all that I had. Any other comments from the board, or do we want to open it up to the public?
I'd say we open up.
Okay. I know there's one person here who has to leave early, so I think we'll jump down to Crystal.
Okay. Could you state your name and your address? That'd be great for the record.
Yep. Hello.
Hi.
So my name is Crystal Loving. I'm a resident of Polk County. I live on the east side of Des Moines. And thank you so kindly for letting me go first. I have a daughter to get to soccer practice tonight. So I just am happy to be here as a member of AMIS. I know a number of you have worked with AMIS as we've launched into these children's mental health crisis services that came out starting in July. And I know a number of you have been on Zoom calls with a number of us. And so we're excited to hear that mental health is one of the very top topics that are going to be addressed. And we know that you're looking for sort of big wins and long-term solutions, but I also hope that you will hear that some of these are small things, because I think the mental health is coming down to the individual human, that we need to pay attention. So I look forward to brainstorming ideas along with AMIS as we do this. And some things that we hope you will consider is the workforce shortage. So that's not only trained therapists, which I hope Polk County can maybe incentivize that we get past STEM and labor and build on that, and also get people into being direct care workers. I know myself, when I took my child in, I was told it was 6 months before we could get to a therapist that could help us. And that's just not acceptable, especially with the number of kids that we have that are in need today. So some ideas around that. Can you incentivize, can you do a grant repayment? If we can get people into working into this area, can we pay their loans to get trained therapists? Can we do direct care workers? Can we get into high schools and talk to kids not only about being electrician and plumbers, but how we need direct care workers to come out? We know that that's the shortfall right now at LSI. We can't take more than 6 patients right now because there isn't a direct care workers that are there. And I think you'll hear from Julie from Project Iowa tonight to talk a little bit more about that. And I think, though, that when we do that, we need to make sure that we're having livable wages. So if you put this money out, how can we incentivize that we give livable wages, not $11 an hour for the people that are most important, that are taking care of our kids in these situations? And then how can we think about what's happening in our classrooms? So if you have a conversation with the teacher right now, or anybody in a school, we know there's a shortage of staff. There are people to help. What does this look like for the next 5 years to come out of COVID? Because the conversation I even had today was, we did not expect coming back into the building to be this hard. And so as we move forward and have these public forums, hopefully we can have conversations with community members and those that are affected on what the solutions are, so that we know when we give them, they work for them where they most need it. So thank you all for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Crystal. So jumping up to the top of our list, Frank.
Hello, my name is Frank Bowers. I live near Evelyn K. Davis Park in Des Moines. I want to first thank everyone for taking input. I tried to reach out. I don't know if the city's doing that too with their funds. But anyway, I'm here to talk about using some of the funds for a universal basic income trial. Specifically, I was thinking $500 a month for a year to 200 individuals who make less than $50,000 a year. I think that universal basic income or some sort of direct payment directly addresses the problem of lack of income, particularly people who were hit hard by the pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Charles, okay, Amber, Kim?
Hi, my name is Kim Hageman. I live at 11771 Northwest 38th Street, Polk City, Iowa. The derecho had left about 550,000 households without electricity. A week later, 100,000 were still without power. It is only a matter of time before an ice storm or wind event hits our county and wipes out our power. I am advocating that the Polk County utilize ARPA money to develop community emergency districts throughout the county. These districts would contain microgrids for neighborhoods with an emphasis on areas with fire departments, emergency shelters, and areas with high numbers of residents with healthcare needs such as hospitals, nursing homes, and low-income apartment buildings. A 2020 report released by Iowa Economic Development points out the potential for economic growth in developing energy storage for renewable energy that currently exists. They estimate Iowa loses over 25 million annually due to the lack of storage. They also point out that expertise is available at our universities to assist with these types of projects. Currently, storage of renewable energy is needed, yet it is one part of the microgrid system that is the hardest to get a return on investment. Placing electric lines underground would decrease outages, but can be cost prohibitive for lower income areas. FEMA and the Department of Energy have grants available to assist in building microgrids and moving electric transmission lines underground. HUD has grants for improving the safety of our vulnerable communities. ARPA money can be used for emergency preparedness and should be used to leverage money from various sources as just listed. Polk County can bring together emergency preparedness, economic development, university resources, and electricity providers. Using the ARPA money for developing these microgrids within community emergency districts would be a one-time use of money that would help the economic well-being of our residents for decades to come. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim.
Tammy?
Good evening. I'm Tammy Nielsen, Vice President of Partners and Programs at Food Bank of Iowa. Our building is located at 2220 East 17th Street here in Des Moines. I'm also a Polk County resident. Food Bank of Iowa distributes food via a partner network of 213 frontline providers right here in Polk County. I'm here tonight because food insecurity is a product of poverty. Low-income households are far more likely to be food insecure, and they are forced to spend a greater proportion of their limited incomes on food. In Polk County, 40,000 of our neighbors don't have consistent access to enough food to lead healthy, active lives. Their collective annual food budget shortfall is $22 million. Please let me share how Food Bank of Iowa serves Polk County. Our Polk County Partner Network includes a monthly mobile pantry for veterans, 52 schools that participate in our weekly backpack program, 22 school pantries, and 22 youth program partners. If you're doing some quick addition, yes, that is 96 partner network whose focus is on providing food to children in Polk County. In addition to those partners, there are 116 other partners in Polk County, serving diverse populations. We provide food to pantries, shelters, daycares, residential programs, and community meal sites. In calendar year 2020, Food Bank of Iowa partners served more than 500,000 individuals in Polk County. We are on a similar track this year. Last year, Food Bank of Iowa distributed nearly 6 million pounds of food, which is the equivalent of 5 million meals to Polk County. Again, we are on a similar trajectory for 2021. Until we solve poverty, food insecurity is our stark reality. To address this ongoing need, funding is necessary for Food Bank of Iowa to expand our capacity to procure nutritious food to provide to our neighbors facing hunger. Our goal is to provide food for children, families, veterans, and seniors so that they may lead full and active lives, which will strengthen the community where we all live. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephanie?
Hello, my name is Stephanie Murphy, and I am the Executive Director of Neighborhood Finance Corporation, which is at 19126 6th Avenue, and then I also live on the south side of Des Moines. I didn't come with prepared remarks because I mostly just wanted to hear what people had to say, and thank you all for holding this public forum. But of course, a chance to speak about affordable housing, I'm going to give a few ideas that I have floating around. And I think I've been part of some discussions already, but one thing that many of you know that we also work in Cedar Rapids, and we've been part of the derecho response there. And we just received actually $1 million of ARPA funds there, along with our partners, to expand that program. Because what we found is that when we work in collaboration as organizations to serve those low-income homeowners that need repairs to their homes, whether it's storm or just because they have not been able to repair them due to the impacts of COVID, that we can really get a lot more done with the same amount of money. We can coordinate, what Rebuilding Together is doing already, what Habitat's doing together, our loan programs with forgivable loans. So I would just ask you to not just put money into a program, but also to look at how we can coordinate and have a single intake and sort of a caseworker type person that does construction management. So that's my plug, and that's a plug that's not from the board. I don't know that it would benefit NFC at the end. It's just my desire to see, these households that we can't always help alone get help. Also on the development of affordable housing, we all know that we have affordable housing crisis. You may know that we sold 13 affordable homes last year. I think this is a great opportunity for us to have a couple of years to build capacity in our organizations. And so I'm really excited about what you decide to do with that, because one of the things is we would love to do 50 houses a year, but I can't go hire another staff person without that money. So if I know for 2 years I have money to do that level, then I can hire them and then continue to look for additional resources to do that once this money is gone. So that's something I'm really excited about. Also, we're always a fan of down payment programs as a way to expand affordable housing. Some of you may have heard the rumor that we did receive $1.27 million, and we'll be releasing a down payment program in addition to the one that we already do to help minority homeowners. So any expansions of that would be great, because we see our money going very fast. And that we know that minority households, low-income households, were specifically impacted more by COVID. And then under the economic well-being, and I'm sure this is something you've already thought about, but expanding programs like the Financial Empowerment Center and work with our HUD housing counseling centers, because one thing that we run into consistently is that people that have the dream of homeownership, but just need the tools to figure out how to get there. We can offer them the down payment assistance, but until their credit is repaired somewhat, they're not going to be able to afford an affordable home mortgage that's going to keep them in their home for a long time, because we all know what happens if people go get a loan that isn't affordable. We've seen that play out, and we're starting to see that in the market now, and we really want to figure out how not to have that happen so that people are getting loans that they can afford for a long time. So those are my few ideas. I really do appreciate this opportunity and look forward to further discussions. Thank you.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Since you brought it up, I just have a quick question. You brought up the Financial Empowerment Center. Are you sending some of your clients there? Have you seen that working out really well?
Well, again, we do things so haphazard because we don't have capacity. So this is what excites me about this. We actually, though, hope to get to AmeriCorps Vista so we can track clients better, because we send people there every day. Sometimes we hear back anecdotally that, yes, they went there and got help, but we do send people there every single day.
Great, thank you.
Stephanie, I had a question for you, too. You said you wanted to maybe put 60 houses, I believe is the number you said. Pretty ambitious goal, obviously, but it's good to be ambitious. By that, do you mean taking houses that are distressed and rehabbing them into affordable housing? Is that what you're talking about?
We do both. And we also acquire lots and build homes.
Okay, so it's a build from the ground up and a rehab kind of situation.
We do both. And I'm speaking just off the top. None of this has been approved by my board, but for my desire to move this. Yeah, I got one board member here that can. But we want to be a good community partner, whether that's to enhance our program or for us assisting and using our knowledge to assess other programs. I'm not here speaking just as an NFC, but as somebody that loves this community, has worked on affordable housing issues for over 30 years.
I understand that. You've been a great partner for a number of years, and we've worked together. Just so people know, we allocate over $1 million a year to NFC for their projects and everything, and so does the city, I believe. So we've been great partners, as has Food Bank. So your affordable housing bucket fits in very nicely, I think, to what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah. And last year, of the $2 million that we received from the city and the county, we actually put out about $2.5 million in forgivable loan money, because we use it all to go directly to borrowers. I just want to make sure everyone in the room that we don't use that to support our admin. We raise that money separately, so that goes directly to homeowners. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you. I love your goals. I'm really excited to see
Stephanie, just a quick comment, and thank you so much for everything that you all do at NFC. And since I've been on the board for 19 years now, Angela 22, I think Bob 22. Since I've been on the board, affordable housing has always been a priority for us. Every year, budgeting, we put anywhere from $800,000 to $1 million to NFC, as well as Polk County Housing Trust, and trying to help organizations like Habitat and Rebuilding Together and all those things. And now, of course, we've developed Invest DSM, and we're participating to the tune of about $10 million collectively between the city of Des Moines and Polk County. And sometimes it's still not enough. We have a lot of work to do, but without the help of the nonprofits and the things that you all do to partner with us and collaborate with us, we wouldn't be making the impact that we are. And I think we are making an impact, but we need to do more. So thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie. I'll just add one of the comments that you made too that has come up repeatedly in our conversations with the board is the idea of collaborating with other partners, and how do we get more momentum in the community by bringing more people to the table and looking beyond just singular programs. So thank you for bringing that up. Amy?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much just for the opportunity to have our voices heard this evening. My name is Amy Hutchinson. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Wesley Life, and tonight here to speak to our Meals on Wheels program and express concern about food insecurity among older adults and veterans in Polk County. Our Meals on Wheels building is currently located at 944 18th Street in Des Moines, and I am a Beaverdale resident. So since 2006, Wesley Life Meals on Wheels has been at the front line in the fight against food insecurity here in Polk County. And during the pandemic, demand for our demand for our meals surged by 50% to nearly 6,000 meals per week, up from 4,000 pre-COVID. So we've really been in the trenches on this, trying to keep up with that need for some of the more vulnerable individuals in our county. We all know this, but there are older adults and veterans in Central Iowa who are hungry right this minute, and I can guarantee you we all know one, even if we don't realize that we know one. And Wesley Life is really here to represent a voice for them. It's estimated that hunger affects as many as 140,000 older Iowans, with more than 9,000 of those here in Polk County, and they need our support, and we need support. We're currently delivering more than 250,000 meals every year, or about 1,000 hot and healthy meals each day, and we have a waiting list. And we're so sad to say that individuals on our waiting list currently are going through things like cancer treatments, breast cancer, brain cancer, and the need just goes on. Without resources, this waiting list is going to continue to grow, and we know the need is going to continue to grow as well. It's estimated that more than 20% of the state's population will be older than 65 by 2050, and that's compared to 17.5% now. So that seems like a manageable increase, but we're already struggling with the demand that we have today. And just as important as the meals that our drivers and volunteers are delivering, they also stop and check on the health and well-being of each participant. Isolation, we all know, has increased exponentially since March of 2020. Our driver is often the only person that our participants see in the course of any given day, the only person. So this past year alone, we know that we have already saved at least 3 lives by connecting our participants to help even before their loved ones knew that they were even in trouble. And this is pretty invaluable. also. The emergency funding that was granted as part of our COVID relief funds was so beneficial, but our funding's gone now and our need continues to increase. COVID has forced the cancellation of our last 2 annual galas, and we've already maxed out our Title III United Way funding as well. Our regular funding sources have stayed pretty stagnant for the last several years while our population has continued to rise. Food insecurity overall is on the rise, and food and labor costs have also increased rather dramatically. So we're really here tonight to just ask everyone to please consider older adults and veterans as we look to the future. I'm probably over time, but we simply want to ensure that the folks that we're serving can receive that hot delivered meal and that very, very important well-being check that our drivers can provide to them. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Carolyn?
Good evening. My name is Carolyn Hewlin Hickwalker. I live at 4111 Ingersoll Avenue in Des Moines, so I'm in Polk County. I'm here as a concerned citizen. I picked the area of water quality. I was trained long ago in the Iowa Water Quality Program, so it's an interest of mine. At this evening's hearing, I wanted to report that Polk County has lost hundreds of acres of forest due to development and the clearing of farmland since 2009. Then along came the derecho during the pandemic last August, and we lost thousands more of our trees. I brought up trees because our trees are involved with soil erosion, flooding, polluting our waterways, the loss of our wildlife, and poor water quality. A typical urban forest with about 8,000 to 10,000 trees will retain 10 million gallons of rainwater a year. So trees are really important. My suggestion is that Polk County partner with cities, small towns, churches, farmers, schools, businessmen, and women to create new woodlands and forests in Polk County. And that would involve hiring coordinators and also training people to have workshops to show all these different groups what they would do to create a woodland or an urban forest. Another important endeavor to improve water quality at our county's water level is promoting green infrastructure. Polk County would again, could again partner with all these different organizations, including nonprofits, and create such things as bioswales, green roofs, soil restoration, rain gardens, a prairie, and more. And it's really important that in that kind of project that they look at especially at-risk areas along streams and along lakes and rivers where there would be a lot of erosion. I think it's also important to look at hiring landscape architects, engineers, to help these organizations look at how to create a bioswale or a green roof or to do soil restoration. These types of green infrastructure at the county level would really provide, along with the county watershed mitigation projects that are already going on along 4 Mile Creek and Walnut Creek, would really bring communities together to help with stormwater mitigation and also water quality. I know Des Moines does that. I'm involved with a lot of things with Des Moines and the city of Des Moines as far as a volunteer. And I know Des Moines does provide with best management practices of green infrastructure between $1,000 and $2,000 per project that a resident would do on their property. The problem is there hasn't been a big buy-in for that because most residents don't have the other $1,000 or $2,000 to do it. So I just think it's really important if we're going to do this at a large scale that really makes a difference for water quality, soil erosion, and stormwater mitigation, that we have to look at money coming in other areas to provide grants rather than just giving half of the money. I think if you look at a community up by Minneapolis, they provided grants and created huge amounts of success in this whole area, and I can provide research on that later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Laura?
Hi, thank you. Laura Faraci. I live at 1011 42nd Street in Des Moines, 50311. So I'm here as a local business owner, small business owner, but I want to talk about the Sustainable Iowa Land Trust. I'm a board member of the Sustainable Iowa Land Trust, along with Joe Henry here. And we're really excited to be here, and we're excited about what you guys are doing with this money. I want to present to you tonight an innovative concept that meets two focus areas you have identified: water infrastructure and economic well-being. We propose support for establishing perennial food farms across our watershed. These farms would incorporate many practices proven to reduce nitrates, but add to that the production of fruits, nuts, vegetables, herbs, and pastured meat and poultry. We would use this one-time infusion of funds to make each parcel a permanent part of the landscape by attaching agricultural conservation easements to the deeds, thereby creating affordable farming opportunities for young and immigrant farmers. Each transaction protecting 20 or more acres will increase the number of watershed buffers in place, sequester carbon, provide affordable land access to food farmers, increase the production of local foods, and multiplying marketing, procurement, and delivery business opportunities in the metro area. We propose funding at least 20 such land transactions to have real impact. This is a game-changing landscape-scale permanent solution to the needs exaggerated by COVID and made clear by climate change. It creates a landscape of improved drinking water and safe water recreation while diversifying our agricultural economy and opening up rural opportunities for those who have been locked out until now. We can hit the ground running due to the support and expertise of our many partners, and our plan to hire a full-time field organizer for Polk County is going to happen in the first quarter of 2022. The concept has initial support so far of Greater Des Moines, Central Iowa Sierra Club, Practical Farmers of Iowa, the Iowa Farmers Union, the Iowa Hunger Coalition, Polk County Soil and Water Commissioners, 4 Mile Creek Watershed Management Authority, and Polk County Natural Resources Conservation Service, USDA. We have already submitted a similar proposal to Dubuque County. We can provide upon request, and we are developing one for Lynn County right now. I do have an illustration. I don't know if it'll help you guys much because you're kind of far away. But one of the things that we're looking at here is a lot of land changing hands. As we know, farmers are like average age of 65 now. And just between 92 and 2012, America lost 175 acres of farmland per hour. That was 3 acres per minute during that 20-year period. So we would like to be a partner, and we've got some great ideas, and I think our track record is pretty proven. So I'll take any questions if you have any.
Do you have any, or do you or Joe have any literature you could forward to us via email or something like that?
Definitely.
We're doing some work at Farm Out right now with farmers, and it's going well. But this sounds like kind of a unique idea.
Yeah, our ED, Susan Aram, actually lives, it's a statewide organization, but she's in West Branch, so she didn't want to do the 5-hour drive, so I was more than happy to come speak to you guys. But she will definitely be following up with all of you and probably with you too.
And just send it all to Sarah, and we'll take a look at it.
Right.
Sure, it
Sounds
sounds
great.
really
Laura, the average land transaction that you're talking about, what is the size of the actual land?
Well, we're looking at easements along watersheds, so.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I do have kind of this, it's not the best illustration, but basically you think about a river, and then you've got, you know, some sort of protected area for the wildlife, and then you would have more protected area that would be sustainably growing food, but doing it with practices that aren't dumping a bunch of gunk into the water.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that all has to be protected and making sure that, you know, nothing, we're already worried about water quality.
Right, and this protects it in perpetuity. I mean, a land trust, I'm real proud of this organization. They've done a lot of their homework, and they, you know, a lot of the money that we raise goes towards making sure those easements are protected forever.
I just want to make just a quick comment, and maybe this isn't in your bailiwick, but I know I serve on Metro Waste Authority's Board of Directors, and we had talked about some options with the board, with the director, specifically about land that is available out and around the landfill that has been purchased and is owned by Metro Waste Authority, and specifically with the immigrant community. It sounded like the big problem with farming options for them and produce options for them was available land. And that land is out of production for farming right now, could absolutely be used for farming and other options like that. So even if it's not something that you all have an interest in, maybe when you're talking, we've engaged LSI, and then we're talking to LSI through Metro Waste Authority about that option. But I think it's an excellent option. It's government-owned ground. We would probably even be able to get farmers to volunteer to disc it, I mean, from what I'm understanding. So anyway, just something to think about. If you have any questions, certainly contact my office. I can connect you with the director at Metro Waste Authority to find out whether or not there should be some options there.
Thank you so much. That's very innovative. Thank you.
I should just add full disclosure to the board, I also serve on the Sustainable Iowa Land Trust Board, so.
So you probably know all about it. You probably all know all about this subject.
Yes, but I want to make sure I'm balanced and not abuse my board position. But I do think there are some tax incentives for farmers that own land that border these waterways that make it very positive for them to want to create these easements, and it creates a tax incentive for them at the same time that makes it easier to put the finance piece together to make this work.
Okay.
At the very least, I think we've got some land we've already bought, along 4 Mile especially, that could be used for something like this quite a bit.
Yes, and and it appears the city's going to be buying more, as I understand it, possibly. And this might be more amenable to look at than what it is today, since I've received a few complaints about it. Okay.
Can I just mention the previous presenter's comments? I'm sorry I forgot your first name, but your comments about water quality, I agree with pretty much everything that you said, and I had a real interest in it for a number of years, and really only became as educated as I am now through the position that I'm in. And I think, you know, looking at the watershed management authorities that have been created as a result of the legislative action, and all the communities working collectively to create those watershed management authorities, and you mentioned 4 Mile Creek and Walnut Creek and those initiatives that are going on now, I think that just from a county standpoint, that Polk County is probably ahead of the curve that as far as most counties are in the state of Iowa. We really need a state approach to water quality. But if you look at the Easter Lake project and all those different things that we've done, I'm proud of what we've done. We certainly need to do more. It is so important. So thank you for bringing that forward to us.
Julie?
Hi, I'm Julie Figgenshoe, and I'm with Project Iowa. But what I really want to tie in here today is economic well-being is the fourth cornerstone, but it ties into every single thing that we've talked about today. People being able to make a livable wage, to have affordable housing, to not need food banks, to get good water quality is one of the cornerstones of what we need to really focus on. And economic well-being isn't just about getting a job. So mental health ties into that. Being able to contribute back to our community and feeling valued in who we are can make Polk County a much better place. So we have many people that are disengaged from our workforce. We're talking, all of us who do workforce training are saying, where are all the people, the frontline staff? We don't know where they are. Those people that lost jobs from hospitality, from restaurants, they just really haven't reemerged yet. So how do we make Polk County welcoming, bring them back into the workforce to feel valued and needed in our workforce? And that contributes to everything that you have on your agenda. Then we can get them in houses. We have good mental health because they feel like they're contributing. And I just think that looking at workforce of a person to a job is not good enough. That is not good enough. That was maybe 20 years ago, right, when we had a surplus of people. We do not have that surplus of people. So how do we make it in our community today that everybody feels like I can contribute and I add to this community, and I can do that through work, and I can do it through a livable wage job. And I have to say, through COVID, one good thing that has happened is our minimum wage has increased, right? It hasn't been set into law, but people know if they want to get those workers, they're paying. 15 still isn't a livable wage, but we're edging up as we go along, so we'll take that. But I really hope that I think economic well-being is really the core to help you attain all these other elements, both affordable housing, mental health, and the quality of water. So just in looking at it, Project Iowa does a phenomenal job of doing a holistic approach. But as everybody has said, I think it's a collaboration of how we move everybody to that. There are multiple people doing workforce, but I think we have to make it a really well-rounded initiative that looks at the whole person and not just a person to a job. But that way they stay, we retain them, because that's half of the problem. As we talk to people that are running businesses out there, there's a lot of poaching going on. So if somebody's going to pay 25 cents more, they're going to go over there. So how do we really get our businesses to get great employees that want to stay there, and the employees ready to commit and feeling good about themselves and knowing that they can commit? So I really hope that, I know it's down on the list, but I just hope that it is also tied together, all your 4 components that you're looking at. So thank you, and I just hope that we can collaborate on making sure everybody in Polk County feels like they can contribute to our community.
Well, where are our workers?
I don't know.
On the bench.
It's amazing, it really is. We've had those conversations and we're like, are they just not re-entering? We're not sure how some people are surviving right now, because what it appears is they left, and for a while we had the economic ability to keep them safe. We had the safety net in place, and now some of that's gone, but we're just not seeing them reemerge at the rate that we thought that they would. So some of our programming and other programming is, bringing them in and saying, there are ways that you can make more, you can do more and feel more value, because I think a lot of those frontline people that left felt like that they didn't contribute and they were dispendable. And so how do we re-engage them back into the workforce to know that they're not dispendable, that we need them here? So Angela, we're looking, but there's a huge population that's just gone, right? I mean, everybody's looking for workers, and so where are those, and how do we engage our community of those who aren't, coming up? How do we get them back into our community?
There's a lot of theories on that, of where they went and why they're not back and all that. If you said, I think you hit the nail on the head, though, the workforce issue. If you said, gee, Bob, I'll keep you up at night, my answer would be workforce, because if we don't have available, strong workforce here in central Iowa for these companies and nonprofits to hire, they're going to go someplace where they can. We don't want that. We had a strong economic presence in central Iowa, here in Metro Des Moines especially. And in order to keep that momentum going, we got to have workforce. So yeah, I agree with you. I think that's something we really need. This part of that economic availability, economic well-being bucket has to include something like that.
Yeah. Well, mental health talked about it, Crystal, and that, when we're looking at beefing up all our mental health services, that's fantastic. But we have to have the people that are going to do that, right? We can have the thoughts, but we have to have the people.
Were you able to attend the Iowa Works summit at DMAC Urban Campus today?
Oh, no,
It was sponsored by Iowa Works and Central Iowa Workforce Development. I'm the chair of. It was a fantastic 6 hours, and a lot of things you're talking about are being addressed by. There were over 200 people there today. It's something you should probably, if you can, you need
And-
to attach yourself to that because
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's going to answer a lot of the questions that you're talking about.
Yeah,
We're doing it. So, and Central Iowa Workforce Development is 8 counties. It's all of Central Iowa Workforce. Iowa Works is a statewide initiative.
Right.
And DMAC and what they're doing at Urban Campus is just unbelievable. So attach it. And United Way was there. Attach yourself to it.
right, absolutely.
You need to attach yourself to it.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
Thanks, Julie. And I'll add, we don't have the economic well-being at the bottom of the list because it's the least important. I think we've our conversation so far, we've viewed that as kind of the most all-encompassing with a lot more questions and a lot more conversation that we need, in looking at the affordable housing, the mental health, the water quality. There's a lot of best practices out there already that I think we're looking to expand on. I think when it comes to the economic well-being bucket, there's still so many unknowns, and we just really need a lot more information about it. We've had conversation about workforce, home ownership, childcare, access to benefits and entitlement programs, small business health, nonprofit health. There's just so much in that bucket that I think we anticipate that one taking a little bit longer to get through and having a lot more conversations.
And our seniors, what kind of issues our seniors are facing? We need to talk about them and our veterans, as somebody mentioned earlier. So that fills a big bucket, economic well-being. Okay.
Mathea, did you want to speak, or did you want to leave this as a comment card? No? Okay. Well, that wraps it up for the folks who are registered to speak. If there's anyone in the audience who hasn't had a chance to speak that would like to, now's your opportunity. If there's any, pressing questions on social media, we can take those now. Otherwise, board members, John, if you'd like to add anything.
Are there any questions on social media? Okay. Anybody in the audience want to say anything before we wrap it up? Joe? It looked like you were going to get up.
Yeah, I agree with Laura. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities in Des Moines. When you look at the available farmland over on the south side, along County Line Road, Southeast 14th, Army Post Road, we have many Latino tenant farmers right now who are renting land for about $250 an acre right now on the south side, and then they're selling their food, their vegetables and so forth on Army Post Road and elsewhere. But we are a growing community. Just to look at the Latino side of it, folks who want to farm but can't afford it. So SILT provides an opportunity for people from our community, many other communities, brown and black communities, for this opportunity to enter into farming. It used to be 30 years ago, it would only cost about $25,000 to start a farm. Now it costs about $750,000 to start a farm. That's the current stats right now. So it's very hard for communities of color to do any type of farming unless there are these type of opportunities with the SILT program, the land trust program, things like that would be necessary to help communities of color.
Thank you.
Joe, I had a question for you on New Iowans. What are we able to do as a community to welcome new Iowans and try to attract new Iowans from the, specifically from the Latino communities?
Well, that's a good question. 5% of Iowa's population is from the immigrant community. And actually, that was a stat that came out about 5 years ago. So it's been growing since then, as has the Latino community that has grown by nearly 20-some thousand according to the U.S. Census data. Immigrants, new Iowans, need to know that there's somebody who can reach out to them. It's not hard to figure that out, but we need to connect more with government agencies to do that outreach. You have your traditional groups that have worked with immigrant communities, Lutheran Social Services, Proteus and so forth, but there's a lot of other nonprofits that have a very close connection to the immigrant community, to new Iowans. And new Iowans need a lot of support. They're the ones who are doing the agricultural work. You know, the food that we eat every day is picked, grown, processed, served by new Iowans. We need to take care of those folks during the pandemic. You know, a lot of problems happen, lack of access to COVID vaccinations, lack of access to health care. There's a lot of healthcare clinics that could provide support, but the immigrant community really doesn't know about them. You know, I bring that up all the time to new Iowans. They're very surprised that there is free health care out there, that there are other services. It's almost hard for them to believe that that does exist. So there needs to be a deeper connection in just kind of a coalition of government agencies with the many nonprofit organizations such as LULAC that I'm a part of, For Latino, and many others where we really haven't had a strong connection with government agencies. So we just need to do more because they're the ones who are rebuilding Iowa in each and every community.
And I'll just add to that point, I think the two things that, as we continue to have these conversations about all these various topics, the two lenses that we'll continue to look through are diversity and equity and also data. You know, how are we going to be able to collect data and show the impact that we're going to make with these funds in the years to come? So those are two of the kind of overarching priorities that are included in all of these topics.
Now, maybe just add two things for the board to think about and the public for your input. One is this is one-time expenditure. So we need things that will make a lasting impact but can't be setting up something for ongoing funding because the county doesn't have the resources to fund $95 million a year. So think about that. Think about, you know, short-term investments that can lead long-term impacts but don't develop a dependency for ongoing funding. And the second thing is we're still sorting through the change in the state law on mental health. And while it's a strategic priority area, there are likely to be limits on what the county can put in to mental health because of the change in the state law with the state not allowing county expenditures on mental health anymore. The state's going to take over that funding. So that in particular would have to be focused on short-term investments that don't go into that normal mental health funding flow.
Right, it's a good point.
Angela, I noticed we had two comments on food insecurity here, one food bank and one from another source. That's not really one of our buckets, as you noticed. That is not important to us. It's been kind of a centerpiece for Polk County for a while now, and I'm sure it'll continue to be. Could that fall under economic well-being? Probably, if we interpret it that way. But food insecurity is such an important thing. It has been such an important thing for us. We first started doing this, we calculated there was 55,000 food insecure people in Polk County. 23,000 or 22,000 of them were like severely food insecure. That's a lot. And I mean, that's more than the population of a lot of counties in Iowa, just that food insecurity part of it. So it'll continue to be important to us, whether it's part of this ARPA conversation or not. So I just want you to know that. Just if you don't end up in the ARPA bucket, you'll be in another bucket for us because you've been great partners. We've had great partners in DMARC and Food Bank and Eat Greater Des Moines and others have been great with us. So we want to continue to do that. And I don't want you to think that if you don't get in there, then you're just out because you're not. You know, Julie talked about this workforce development thing, and one of the questions we always had was, well, what does it take for you to quit going to a food pantry? Well, the answer is you got to have wages to buy food. You know, you have to have a living wage. And so that's an important part of it too. So how do we get there and how can we incentivize that? I don't know. I wish there was a magic way to do that. But there probably is some innovative ways to do it and some practices that have been done at the place in the United States where we can learn and possibly get that done.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Stay tuned, and if you think of anything else, certainly use our comment form on the survey, and send anything else to our office, and we'll certainly take a look at it, and we have one question, yep.
Will the public work forums be posted on the Polk County website?
Will the what now?
The public work forums that are...
Oh, the work groups?
Yes.
The work groups, I don't think we've decided yet where
Yeah.
those will be posted. I anticipate that the board will have some discussion about that at those board staff meetings, which are open to the public, and make a determination then on kind of how those are formed and where they're posted. But I would anticipate that they'll be open, for public.
Just at our board staff meetings,
Yeah.
I don't think our work groups will be public because our whole board won't be there.
Oh, that's two separate things. So there's a public forum and work group going on.
That's what I'm asking about, the public forum work groups. Will those be dates we posted?
Yes, any public forums, any kind of work groups that are open to the public will be posted. Yeah.
Yes?
Will other counties and Polk County be sharing ideas so that, say, Lynn County has a great idea? Are you communicating with other counties?
We did get some information from Lynn and Johnson County, I think, because they've been through some similar process. Yes, we will be sharing. Yep.
Great.
And we'll look at other states also. We're not the only state that is getting ARPA dollars, so we'll be looking at best practices from all over. Anything else? All right, thank you, folks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.